Prime Minister Narendra Modi held separate meetings with chief ministers of two drought-affected states, Telangana and Madhya Pradesh, today to assess their specific requirements to tackle drought and water scarcity and focus attention on both immediate and long-term measures to address them. This comes days after PM met chief ministers of drought-affected UP, Maharashtra and Karnataka and discussed state-specific measures to tackle drought. 1,58,205 villages in 313 districts are drought hit, affecting over 25% of our population.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met chief ministers of Telangana and Madhya Pradesh on Tuesday to discuss the drought and water scarcity situation in their states, days after meeting chief ministers of Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Earlier in the day, PMO tweeted, "Drought mitigation efforts continue at a quick pace. The discussions with CMs are state-specific and very detailed, thus ensuring the best possible means to collectively mitigate the drought." Telangana CM K. Chandrasekhar Rao apprised the Prime Minister of the progress made in Mission Kakatiya, which aims at rejuvenation of water tanks and other water storage structures in the state. He also shared details of the state government's ambitious project of Mission Bhagirat, which aims to provide safe drinking water to rural households. Several historical examples as well as global best practices in the area of water storage and irrigation were also discussed. The Chief Minister also spoke of the progress made in micro-irrigation, which has so far covered 40,000 hectares in the state. The Prime Minister stressed on the importance of using urban wastewater for irrigation in adjoining rural areas, a suggestion that he had also made to the Chief Ministers he met earlier. He said that remote sensing and space technology can be used to identify blocked water channels, which can then be targeted for desiltation through public participation. The centre has released over 1,026 crore rupees for drought mitigation to Telangana in the last and current fiscal so far. PM also met Madhya Pradesh CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan. MP is the second worst affected state by drought.
एक राज्य को अलग बुलाना और उसके साथ लगातार 1 घंटे तक चर्चा करना, ये अपने आप में एक अनूठा प्रयोग है। इससे जहाँ राज्य जो काम कर रहे हैं उनको बताने का अवसर मिलता है, समस्याएं बताने का मौका मिलता है। वहीं दूसरी तरफ प्रधानमंत्री जी के उपयोगी सुझाव भी राज्यों को नई दिशा देते हैं। मैं सचमुच में इस पहल से प्रधानमंत्री जी के बहुत प्रभावित हूँ।
Lok Sabha discussed the drought situation in different parts of the country, drinking water scarcity and interlinking of rivers on Tuesday, where concerns were voiced by MPs across party lines.
हमारे देश में ये जो कृषि एक मंत्रालय, पीने का पानी दूसरा मंत्रालय और वाटर रिसोर्स डिपार्टमेंट है, जो उसको पूरा तब्दील करके हम गंगा विषयक बना चुके हैं, तो ये अलग अलग क्षेत्र में जो बढ़ गया है, सरकार कह रही है कि इस मामले को हमें होलिस्टिक तरीके से देखना चाहिए, लेकिन अलग अलग तरीके से विभाजन कर दिया गया है और उसमें परेशानी और भी ज्यादा बढ़ चुकी है।
1360 करोड़ रुपया राज्य सरकारों के पास था, सूखे की स्थिति पैदा होने से पहले उनके पास था, और जो काम राज्य सरकारों को उस समय करने चाहिए थे सूखे की स्थिति से निपटने के लिए, उसके पास पैसे की कोई फंड्स की कोई कमी नहीं थी।
308 districts in 13 states are facing drinking water crisis because of drought, whereas 11 states have been declared as drought affected. And this number is likely to rise as several states have declared drought in some parts. The thrust of the meetings between PM and Chief Ministers has been to take collective action to bring respite to the drought hit. Given the depth of the crisis, multi-pronged and comprehensive action is the only way to deal with the situation. Newsnight Desk, DD News.
To discuss if collective and multi-pronged action is the most effective way to deal with the present drought and drinking water scarcity situation, we are joined by Dr. Tajamul Haq, a former chairman of Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, that is CAACP. Welcome, Dr. Haq, to Newsnight. The centre today said in the Lok Sabha during the discussion on drought and water scarcity that there was never any dearth of funds with the states even before they were hit by drought. Does that mean that there has been negligence or short-sightedness on the part of various state administrations, because the situation has come to such a pass where over 300 districts are today drought affected in the country?
No, that is true, but one thing you have to understand that for the last several years we are seeing that the frequency of drought and also the intensity of drought have increased. It is no longer that now, for instance, this year in several parts of the country the rainfall was short by up to 59% in many cases. So if you have that kind of severity, then the adverse effect will be much more both on crops, animals, and also human beings drinking water and all that. So that is one. Second thing is that the kind of initiative or the efforts that the state government should make, I think certainly I will say that that is not as much as the central government is currently showing.
In view of that situation, how do you see the PM's initiative of meeting different drought-affected states' chief ministers at different times and discussing state-specific measures as far as drought mitigation is concerned?
In fact, whenever or wherever the Prime Minister is going on some such occasions, he is raising some of these 2-3 very important things. One thing is that, sorry, you need to harvest rainwater, conserve rainwater, and utilize each drop of water efficiently and effectively for productivity improvement and also for drinking water. Now, how you do it?
Per drop, more crop.
Yeah. For sprinkler irrigation, he talks about drip irrigation and also avoiding flood irrigation as far as possible. Second thing, for the last several decades, in fact, most of the scientists, I think, have been saying that in areas where there is not much of water, groundwater as well as otherwise surface water,
don't grow water-intensive crops,
yeah,
there, like
sugarcane or paddy and things like that. So that needs some kind of enforcement by the state government, that if you do it, you will not get some support from the
It's interesting that he pointed that out, because Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said on Saturday after meeting the Prime Minister that the state government now plans to ensure that 100% of the sugarcane growing area in Maharashtra is covered by drip irrigation in the next 3 years. Earlier also, the state government had decided to not accord any fresh licenses or sanction new sugar mills in the Marathwada region for 5 years.
Yeah.
So are these innovative measures or measures that are actually the need of the hour that need to be rolled out and implemented at the earliest?
Certainly. I think the state government has a role in this respect, and they have to enforce some such measures. This is one. Secondly, I think even the agriculture insurance scheme, or say Manrega now is focusing more on
building farm ponds,
renovation of ponds and creation of new tanks, and then conserving water and then utilizing it efficiently. So I think the focus is very clear as far as the central government is concerned. But now there should be more coordination between the central government and the state government. And thirdly, I think at the local level, the community mobilization should be there. In places where there is effective community participation in water management, things are better.
And Manrega can be one way to encourage community participation, isn't it?
Exactly.
How do you see the importance that technology holds in all of this, in planning drought mitigation measures and in their rollout? Because in various meetings, the Prime Minister has pointed out that technologies like remote sensing, for instance, or GPS can actually be involved, and even space technology can be used to ensure that the drought mitigation measures are better monitored and implemented. For instance, if there is a GPS attached to a water tanker, one can monitor its movement and ensure that there is no leakage. How do you respond to that?
Yes, I think already the government has initiated this process, and in several states, I think people are, at least some of the state governments also are taking initiatives in this regard. But I will also say in this context that this is one aspect of the technology. The other things is that like drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation itself is a new technology. So that has to be adopted, the micro irrigation we call. And third thing is that SRI kind of thing, system of root intensification. I mean, you develop varieties which require less kind of water. So
also climate-resistant agriculture is one way that states are looking at.
Very important. Without that, particularly the way the climate changes are taking place, the temperature level is rising. This year, in fact, the Indian Meteorological Department has said normally 2 to 4 degrees high will be the temperature level. So if that is so, then I think there is a need for some kind of rethinking on the part of the scientists to develop new varieties and new cropping patterns and new farming systems. So all those things will be the need of the hour.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Tajamul Haq, for having joined us on Newsnight tonight and for discussing the drought and water scarcity situation in the country. Well, the centre is also planning to send trains from fodder deficient to from fodder surplus areas to fodder deficient areas in order to ensure that there is adequate fodder available for millions of livestock who are currently under a cloud or under the threat because of deficient rainfall for 2 consecutive years and rising temperatures. We'll take a break.